And welcome, everyone, to Lyndhurst Community News. Today is December 4th, and this is episode 75. And I'd like to remind everybody to send whatever is going on in your club, your school, sport, church, organization, whatever it may be, birthdays, anniversaries of note. Send that to lyndhurstcommunitynews@gmail.com. I'll leave that in the description box, as well as any other contact information that I may mention is always in the description box below the video, but only visible on YouTube. For those of you who watch it on Facebook, you'd have to click through to then watch it on YouTube. Okay, I'm going to lead off with the main story that I know everyone's going to be interested in, and this is actually very big news, I think, locally, and this is also a very big story going on across the state. So this past Tuesday at the Lyndhurst Board of Commissioners meeting, Mayor Giangerusso and the Board of Commissioners decided to join the class action lawsuit that's looking to put an end to this affordable housing construction nonsense that is going on across the state. Now, with Lyndhurst, when they formally join, that will be, unless other towns are also joining, they will be the 26th town and counting, because many are going to be joining on. And I think the more that do, the more successful this will be. Now, I've spoken many occasions on this podcast regarding the New Jersey affordable housing situation, which is why we see apartments going up everywhere, and there's not a darn thing we can do about it. Now, under affordable housing laws as they currently exist, for every 5 units that are built, one needs to be affordable housing. Now, let's take what's going on at the Savino property, which is across from the pastry shop next to Angelo's. It's only going to be the 2 stories that are there now. I know it looks mammoth, and we're not used to seeing things that large around Lyndhurst. For those of us who try to drive throughout town, whether it's Ridge Road or Valley Brook Avenue during busy hours, you're better off walking than driving. So this has been an issue of happening across the entire state. So builders come in, and Lyndhurst, like many other towns, are far short of what we're supposed to have according to the state's calculations. Under the new calculations, Lyndhurst is supposed to have 366 more units. So we're short 366 more units. Now, using those calculations, that would mean that Lyndhurst would have to have at least 1,830 new units built in the township, which would satisfy the 366. Now, you say, well, where are you going to put them? Well, that's the problem, is that we have pieces of property in many areas of town where builders come in, they buy it, they approach the town with a project. The town likes to sit down and tries to get them to lower the amount, mostly 1-bedroom units as well. And then what happens is if you say no to these builders, they can appeal to the county under builder's remedy, and therefore they will be awarded builder's remedy, and they can then bypass the local zoning laws and pretty much do whatever they want. Now, is that not ridiculous? I think it is. So I'm very happy that the township is going to be joining on this class action lawsuit. Now, will this be successful? Well, who knows? I don't know. But let me give you a little more background here, and I want to read this actually from an article in the Morristown Daily Record. So you have a growing coalition of New Jersey towns, 25 and counting, that have joined forces for a lawsuit against the state that could bring the current court-enforced wave of affordable housing construction to a halt. The towns are scheduled to be in a Mercer County courtroom on December 20th, seeking to block a state housing mandate that could require the construction of 85,000 more units over the next decade, many of them in North Jersey, along with the renovation of 65,000 existing residences. Now, a series of landmark New Jersey court decisions known as the Mount Laurel Doctrine requires municipalities to provide their fair share of housing for low and moderate income families. Governor Phil Murphy and state legislators enshrined that goal in a law passed earlier this year that seeks to smooth enforcement of those obligations. In their suit, the towns say the mandate threatens to overwhelm communities, yeah, no kidding, with development and the traffic and other burdens that come with it. The law imposes a new affirmative obligation upon municipalities that exceed any remedy ever imposed under the Mount Laurel Doctrine, and that's directly from the amended complaint filed last week in State Superior Court in Mercer County. It, quote, exceeds the requirements, end quote, of the New Jersey Constitution, says the lawsuit, which borrows a line from a Mount Laurel II decision from back in 1983, which says, quote, development merely for development's sake is not the constitutional goal. So who benefits from the affordable housing push? Well, the coalition wants a judge to invalidate the state's current strategy and bar its enforcement. The state's fourth round of mandated building is scheduled to start in July. Quote, since Mount Laurel in 1975, who's made out on all of this, end quote. Now, that was asked by Mount Arlington Mayor Michael Sanzillis. He was asked that during a town hall on the topic in June. His answer was, quote, engineers, planners, and attorneys. Some builders, but it's mostly a cottage industry perpetuating the litigation of this thing forever, end quote. The Fair Share Housing Center, which is a nonprofit tasked by courts with overseeing the Mount Laurel mandate, has a different view. And they say, quote, not surprisingly, the small handful of wealthy municipalities that have signed on to this, well, if you consider Lyndhurst is not one of the wealthy municipalities, which is a good thing. It's all municipalities. That's just my little blurb there. Back to the quote. So not surprisingly, the small handful of wealthy municipalities have signed on to this lawsuit are deeply unrepresentative of New Jersey's diverse population, end quote. That was Adam Gordon, the center's executive director. Quote, on the other hand, many municipal leaders are utilizing our state laws to help working families address the dire housing crisis instead of wasting taxpayer dollars with lawsuit after lawsuit. Now, I don't believe that that's the case at all. I think anybody who lives in a town like Lyndhurst, North Arlington, and even Rutherford realizes that it's becoming too dense. It's becoming a city. And most people who came here didn't come to live in a city. We came to live in a nice suburban, closed, quiet, family-oriented community. Is affordable housing an issue? Do we need affordable housing? Well, we do, but we need affordable housing for more and more people as it is because even young couples today cannot afford to buy a home. Certainly not around here. So which towns are actually in this lawsuit? So in September, the lawsuit included Montville, Hillsdale, Old Tappan in Bergen County, Denville, Florham Park, and Montville in Morris County, Totowa in Passaic County, Milburn in Essex County, and Mannington in Salem County. Since then, 16 more municipalities have joined. The others in Bergen County include Allendale, Closter, Franklin Lakes, Norwood, Oradell, Washington Township, Westwood, and Wyckoff. In Morris County, you have East Hanover, Mendham, and Wharton. Cedar Grove as well in Essex County, West Amwell in Hunterdon County, Wall and Homedale in Monmouth County. Now, that's as it stands now. That will grow, the number of towns that sign on. And I do believe this is going to be one of the major pressing issues of next year's gubernatorial election, as it well should be. Now, this is why I say to people in Lyndhurst, you have to get on the phone and call your legislators, your state legislators, because this is a state issue. But I'm glad that the township, Mayor Jan Giarusso, and the commissioners have agreed to sign on to this, and I will be keeping everybody here informed of this very important thing that affects each and every one of us and affects every aspect of our community. All right, now moving on to the rest of the news. If you're all wondering what's going on at the basketball courts down across from the park on Delafield Avenue, have no worries. No one's building apartments because the town owns that property. They're building pickleball courts. Now, some of you who may not be familiar with pickleball, it has become the most popular sport across the country, which is why you have pickleball courts going up everywhere. So every town is doing it. This is filling a need and desire for the many people who now play pickleball. To my knowledge, the basketball courts on the second level above will remain. But no worries, no apartments, just pickleball. All right, let's talk about some of the holiday stuff that's going on around town because the Christmas will be here before we know it. It's hard to believe. Thanksgiving was 6 days ago already. So we're going to be here very quickly. So I want to remind you that this Sunday, December 8th, at the United Presbyterian Church at 511 Ridge Road will be their annual Living Nativity. Come watch a free live narrated performance of the story of Jesus' birth. And they will have, of course, live animals, and even a camel is going to be there. They will also have refreshments. Now, there are 4 different presentations of this. One begins at 6 p.m., second at 6:30 p.m., the third at 7 p.m., and the final one at 7:20 5:30 p.m. That's this Sunday, December 8th. It's called A Journey to Bethlehem. Once again, a living nativity at the United Presbyterian Church, 511 Ridge Road. Okay, and if you want to have breakfast with Santa, mark your calendars for Sunday, December 15th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Lyndhurst American Legion, Post 139, which is at 217 Webster Avenue. It's $10 a person for breakfast, but you could also just come to have your child's picture taken. So Santa will be there, and you can have waffles, ice cream, and kids love ice cream. That's a good way to get them there. And you could also eat breakfast while you tell Santa your wish list. So again, that's Sunday, December 15th. Tickets are $10 a person for breakfast. That includes waffles, ice cream, bacon or sausage, eggs, coffee, and or juice, holiday treats, and, of course, good old St. Nick. So bring your kids. You can pay at the door. You do not have to get your tickets in advance. And, of course, next weekend will be the biggest annual holiday Christmas celebration that we've had as a tradition now for almost 20 years. That's going to be the Christmas in the Park, which is brought to you by Mayor Jan Giarrusso and the Board of Commissioners. So the mayor and the board invite you warmly and your family to the Christmas in the Park at the Lyndhurst Town Hall Park. You can enjoy an enchanting evening of holiday festivities, entertainment, and free refreshments as we celebrate the joy of the season together. So that'll be next Saturday, December 14th, from 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. in the Lyndhurst Town Hall Park. Now, if it rains, or maybe if it snows, the rain date is December 15th, which would be the next evening. Now, there are free activities for everyone, which includes photos with Santa, as well as the tree lighting ceremony. There'll be a horse and carriage rides, live nativity scene, live music and dance performances, trackless train rides, and costumed characters, as well as hot chocolate, hot apple cider, coffee, eggnog, cider donuts, cookies, and candies. You can enjoy special performances by the Belltones, which is a children's character review. A trio of carolers as well will be performing, and there'll also be local food vendors offering treats and delights to complete your holiday experience. All right, and how would you like to see Buddy the Elf on your front lawn? Well, it's time for You've Been Elfed. It's a fundraiser by the Roosevelt School PTA. It's been taking place since December 1st and will continue to December 20th. So if you want to get a visit from Buddy the Elf and support Roosevelt School PTA, and this is only for Lyndhurst residents, I'm going to leave the link in the description box where you can get your tickets, and you can pledge your support there. Sign up. There's also a QR code available on the poster, which is on the Town Hall's Lyndhurst official website. So you'll take a picture and tag them on Facebook. It's the @Roosevelt School PTA-Lyndhurst, or they're also on Instagram. I'll leave all of that in the description box below. Now, don't forget, folks, now that the holiday is here, as beautiful as we love all the lights and the Christmas trees, it's also a very serious time when house fires occur as a result. If you have a real Christmas tree, make sure you keep watering it so it doesn't dry out. And please be mindful about using all the plugs and extension cords very carefully. Don't overload your circuits. Now, granted, today's lights don't use the amount of electricity that they did years ago, but electricity is electricity, and the last thing we want to do is have anyone have a house fire, God forbid, during the holiday season. And, of course, that means, as I always remind you, the volunteer fire department always stresses that it's so important to check the smoke detector batteries as well as your CO2 detectors. And if you get a new smoke detector, they have internal batteries that last 10 years. So when that 10 years are up, you just discard the smoke detector and get a new one. So just don't forget, folks, we live in a beautiful town. This is a wonderful time of the year. But some people also struggle, which is why it's so important to be mindful of everybody and our neighbors. Get to know your neighbors. Look after your elderly neighbors as well. Check in on them, especially when it gets cold. See if they maybe need something from the store so that they don't have to venture out in the cold of winter. Let's just be the kind of people that we want to be to one another, because that's what has always made Lyndhurst such a wonderful community, a wonderful place in which to live, because a community is not its roads, streets, houses, or buildings. A community is its people. Let's work to keep it that way always. And we wish Lyndhurst, the township of Lyndhurst, good luck on joining this lawsuit to get this ridiculous development under control. See you next week, everybody. God bless you and God bless Lyndhurst.